What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news, and as always on a Thursday this is coming via the Twid, which is Bungie's weekly update. So as always there are updates, they discuss a few things coming in the future, and we'll round up other fixes and coverage related to the game. So as always I hope you find the video useful, and if you do, a rating below really helps us out, but now let's get into it. And first up, players were asking about the Still Hunt nerf and why it actually dropped earlier than the intended date of August, and Bungie said, while our target was initially early August, this change was completed in time to ship this week, which is one of the risks in communicating changes early, but we'd rather look to set expectations on what to come when we can, rather than wait for exacts on a final ship date. So that's Bungie's justification. It is interesting that they kind of separated the Still Hunt nerf from the updates that we're getting on August 6th, which is the mid-episode update. Obviously they thought that Celestial Still Hunt needed a nerf before then. Otherwise though, as they point out in the Twid, they've decided to extend the challenge week for Salvation's Edge by an additional week. So if you're looking to get the challenge triumphs done, unlock the associated rewards or the title, all challenges will now be available until August 6th. So that's definitely good if you're trying to get them done. Up next though, let's get on to the Twid changes for today, and they actually speak about some updates coming in the August 805 update, so that's going to be the mid-season update as far as we know. That should be dropping on the 6th of August. So they start out by talking quite a bit about PvP. There's a bit more sort of reflective conversation in the Twid itself, talking about some of the changes we've seen over the past few months, but focusing on the updates that we're going to get in August. For General Crucible, they say 6v6 map weighting will see an increased weighting of popular maps, and they'll decrease the weighting of unpopular options. Also, they plan to improve lobby balancing and move to the second variant of Snake Draft with improved systems for dealing with fire teams. So there's some nuance there, I'm sure, but overall, lobby balancing should be better. That's what Bungie is saying. On top of that, there's an update to quitter systems, and the system should be more lenient for players who rarely quit or get disconnected, but much more restrictive for habitual quitters. Then for sandbox balance, there'll be PvP nerfs to Threaded Spectre and Swarm Grenades. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Then in Trials, they say the Passage of Persistence will see an update for trios, and while in the 3-person fire team, losses will not remove a win from the passage. So that'll be good, and for competitive, they're reducing the score in Clash, or should I say the score to win, to bring the match times closer to the 8-minute target, and for Collision, they'll be improving spawn logic. Then, in the Iron Banner, they're temporarily removing Tribute for additional improvements, and they're looking to address things like the semi-random bank locations and kills not providing points. So that's a quick breakdown of some of the stuff we'll see in August, but more specifically for abilities, they say they are changing 2 Prismatic Hunter abilities to address community feedback about performance in the Crucible, and the goal of the changes is to reduce frustration around playing against Prismatic Hunters without negatively affecting their performance in PvE. So for Threaded Spectre, they're reducing aim assist strength on Threaded Spectre by 50% versus players, and they've added a short delay before the aim assist takes effect. And they're also reducing Threaded Spectre detonation damage versus players by 45%, so that will be an overall significant change for Threaded Spectre in the Crucible. Then for Swarm Grenade, they're reducing the distance that Swarm Grenade submunition projectiles can travel once they begin tracking a target, and that will go down by 20%. And obviously Bungie are focusing on the PvP portion of the game. They do say there will be additional ability changes and exotic armor tuning and things like that, which will be for all content or more PvE focused, but this is PvP specific for the moment. So give us your thoughts about that. They also talk again about Clash in competitive, and they say they'll reduce the score to win from 40 to 35 points to bring game times closer to the 8-minute target. And additionally, they'll be updating the spawn policy in Collision to favour spawning you nearer teammates, where they recently made this change in Clash, and they've seen the incidence of split spawns go down dramatically. So the hope is that that will have a similar effect for Collision. And so those are some of the PvP specific updates, but again, if you want to read into more of Bungie's sort of justifications and feedback about some of the updates they've made over the past few months, I will link the Twid down below. Next though, they speak separately about exotic class item drop rates. So they say the final shape introduced new exotic class items that can roll with awesome perk combinations. This has made them highly sought after, but they've seen plenty of feedback from players that it's currently difficult to get enough drops to target the rolls that we want. So in the early August update, they say there'll be increasing chances for drops when opening overthrow chests, and as we open chests tied to overthrow activities, the chances will increase, and higher tiered chests will give bigger increases to drop chances, which should decrease the amount of time it takes on average to get an exotic class item, but they will be watching feedback and tuning further if necessary. Plus they add that they're reducing the chances from unrelated Pale Heart chests in free roam to encourage overthrow participation, so general free roam chests are going to be less useful, but overthrow chests should drop them at a more regular cadence than what the random chests do at the moment. Plus, they're increasing the chance stored up from overthrow chests to apply to lost sectors and co-op missions that take place in the Pale Heart. So there'll also be the opportunity to move into lost sectors or the co-op missions with a similar drop rate for those class items. Plus, they say we're adding a weekly challenge to Dual Destiny, and players will be able to earn one additional exotic class item when completing this activity per week, per character, and then subsequent completions will function normally. So that's good in terms of the current drop rates for class items. It gives us more opportunities to get them, and they've essentially created a way for players to be guaranteed to get 2 of them on a dual destiny clear instead of having to use glitches as we have in the past. They do add though that they're also aware of player feedback concerning the desire for these exotics to come from more activities outside of the Pale Heart, and they thank players for giving that feedback, but they add we'll continue to monitor after the above mentioned changes go live. So the initial source for exotic class items isn't going to change for the moment, although it is a possibility further down the road based on what Bungie have said. So it addresses sort of half or part of the feedback around exotic class items. I personally really like the Dual Destiny mission. I can understand, however, that some players do not. But if you're already sort of farming for class items and you've done that initial unlock, the drop rates should be improving across the board, so that's good. Next up though, they speak about the Brave Arsenal, and they say weapon attunement is back. So they're ready to introduce a new way to attune Brave Arsenal weapons from Onslaught, and we can see this vendor menu right here. And in the update in August, players can visit Zavala in the tower to access a new Onslaught attunement menu, and from there, players can select a single Brave Arsenal weapon they'd like to attune to, which increases the drop chance by 60% in Onslaught, and this is an increase from the initial 50% drop chance that we had back in Into the Light. They add that there is no cooldown or cost, so we'll be able to swap to the chosen weapon at any time, and the selected weapon will remain attuned until we change or deactivate the attunement. And if we're chasing an elusive Brave Arsenal God roll, now will be the perfect time to jump in and try our luck. So given that the drop sources, or the drop rate more specifically especially, for the Brave weapons hasn't been quite where it was back in Into the Light, I think that will be a positive, especially for any folks, of course, who are still working on getting specific roles. So give us your thoughts about that. I've hardly actually played any Onslaught since the final shape drop, to be honest, but I am glad to see some updates for it. And finally here, a couple of items. Bungie have released a Captain Jacobson pin, and you'd have probably had to play the Echoes quest for the week, the Nest 05 upgrade quest, in order to know exactly what this is all about. But of course there are frogs on Nessus. And spoiler alert, this week, as part of one of those quests, we find one, and we keep it in the helm. So Bungie have created this Captain Jacobson pin, which is pretty cool. Probably the most intriguing part of the Echo story thus far, for me, personally. Maybe I'm being harsh. I can't wait to actually find out more about the conductor properly in-game. But the last thing really worth highlighting from the Twid in relation to gameplay content are the free Strange coins that Bungie mentioned last week. So they refer to the update last week that we had, which introduced an issue where Strange Favor buff wasn't providing bonus Strange coins. And as a resolution to this issue, they say all players will be able to claim 47 free Strange coins from Xur, Agent of the Nine, when he appears in the tower. This is a one-time bundle for each account, and it'll be available to claim until August 27th, and we must have 52 Strange coins or less in order to acquire this bundle of coins. That is, of course, because of the 99 Strange coin cap that we have at the moment. But at least there are a few weeks to actually claim it, which will give players the opportunity to spend some if they have too many or whatever. So that's nice to have, and I assume that will be there tomorrow or this week when Xur comes. So we'll look out for that. But for today, guys, that's what we have to speak about. Some positive updates there, some good changes coming to the Crucible, of course. They also indicate that we'll get more sandbox changes. I think they actually plan to speak more about the sandbox tuning and exotic adjustments next week in the Twid. So I'll keep you posted on that. They also say we'll get a preview of the Solstice of Heroes event, which will drop around the same time as this mid-season update. So yeah, Crucible changes, exotic class item drops, weapon attunement, and of course free Strange coins. Overall, not one of the worst Twids we've ever seen, really. And I'm hoping Bungie will start being a bit more communicative, as we're sort of seeing right here. They've needed a little bit of time to react to some of the feedback, understandably, with the significant launch that we've had. So now is certainly the time for Bungie to be making changes. So let us know your thoughts below, guys. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out. Also be sure to get subscribed to the channel, and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, cheers for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.